What is going on, everybody? I'm your average gamer, and today I want to talk a little bit about Diablo 4. Now, I've seen so many different mixed reviews about this game, so I thought it would be very interesting to put my own twist on it. Now, before I just dive in talking about Diablo 4, I would like to give a little bit of an insight on the games that I enjoy playing, hopefully to have you guys get a better understanding of where I'm coming from. The list of video games I enjoy can honestly go on forever, but I'm going to kind of just focus on the bigger ones, such as God of War, which is practically the whole reason I even made this YouTube channel. I am in love with the game, the combat, and I think it is just very, very good. You have The Last of Us, something that I thought was pretty mid until I started to play it on Grounded, and man, that experience sucked, but it was also very, very fun. You got Ghost of Tsushima, practically any PlayStation exclusive. I really enjoy it. And then you have Elden Ring, you have Sekiro. Both of those titles being made by From Software. I didn't know what to expect because I never played a From Software game until Elden Ring came out. Fast forward to playing, enjoying, and beating Elden Ring. I wanted to try something a little bit different. I was recommended Sekiro. And man, let me tell you, hot take for sure. I don't know what it is about Sekiro, but I like that game a whole lot more over Elden Ring. I think it's just because it's a lot more fast-paced. You know, don't get me wrong, the hours I spent just running around in Elden Ring, just in awe of the scenery, was amazing. But dude, the sword-to-sword combat you have in Sekiro with the Makiri counter, where you literally just step on any thrust attack, I thought was super creative, and man, it felt so good. There's also a skill to that game, of course there is in a lot of games, but in Sekiro, I feel like when you look at it when you first play it, it's really challenging, you know, and then you go through the paces, you get kind of good, you figure out your own rhythm, and you get all that new game plus stuff, and then you're just demolishing things, and it makes you feel like a freaking god. And speaking of feeling like a god, another game that this is a good example for is God of War. Of course, playing or watching somebody play on Give Me God of War might look super hard or frustrating depending on, you know, where you are as a gamer. But I promise you, same thing. You go through the paces, you'll figure it out, and you'll pick it up, and you will be completely fine. Now, what do those games have to do with Diablo 4? Well, actually nothing. There's nothing in those games that relate or have anything to do with Diablo 4. My whole point that I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter what game I play, I will try to get the most out of it, even if it is extremely difficult. Now, with all that out of the way, I finally want to talk about Diablo 4 itself. Now, this is my very first Diablo experience. You guys can tell that by looking below the map to the right, and you will see that I'm playing on World Tier 1. I was surprised to see that there are multiple world tiers. I saw that there were at least 4. I'm not sure if there's more than that. But there is something to grind for, you know, a difficulty to try to get through. And I like that. But so far, just playing on World Tier 1, I've been enjoying the game, trying to figure it out. But I will not lie. A big part of me feels like I'm only enjoying this game as much as I am because I am playing with my little brother. This is also another game that he's never played, and he's never really stepped outside you know, multiplayer games all too much. So this is a pretty fun game for both of us to try. And I think without, you know, both of us playing it together, the experience is definitely watered down quite a bit. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't play this game solo. If you want to play this game by yourself, that is 100% fine, and you will have a whole lot of fun as well. I just always think that playing with, you know, somebody that you enjoy playing with will always give you that added bonus. Other than playing with somebody, the things that I enjoy about this game are the crazy numbers, of course. Some of it can be super fun just to look at, but pulling off successful combos can be super exhilarating. But the thing that I actually enjoy about this game is just trying to figure it all out. You know, as much as I play video games, I'm not the greatest at every single video game that I play. Of course that I get pretty good at it, but I'm not out here trying to have the most DPS or the most, you know, crowd control, because I don't really understand everything to the fullest. You know, I'm the type of guy that goes, ooh, a bow and arrow. I like that. I'm going to make it work. And that is pretty much my goal. And as of right now, it's been okay. You know, of course, there are a bunch of different ways that you can build a character, and some ways might be better, but that doesn't mean it's more fun. The way that I enjoy playing a video game will rarely ever match up to somebody else playing a video game. He spit on me, but little does he know I fucking liked it.
Safe. Beyond these walls.
World tier 4?
Yeah, it's Torment.
Okay. Convulses and dies. That's what it says. Like they narrated it. Now, this game is very heavily focused on its combat. What I mean by that is you will be constantly fighting groups of enemies, and that is very fun. There is also a story driven throughout this game that I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy, but I'm not going to lie, there was a point where I just wanted to keep testing out my gear and figure out how things work, and so I didn't really focus too much on the story. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not any good. I do enjoy Lilith. I think she's a super badass for a villain. I enjoyed the main story on how it's unfolding. Some of the side quests can be pretty cool, but there's nothing that's gonna make you sit there and, you know, blow your socks off. You're not gonna be blown away by one of the quests you've done. Now again, that doesn't mean that you won't like any of the quests. There will be a whole lot of missions that you do, a million different side quests, and some of them are cool. But if you were to focus and read every single one, you will just forget about so many other ones just because of the quantity that there is. But again, the game itself, the story is pretty fun. So, will you enjoy this game? It's pretty much the whole reason that I wanted to make this video. I'm not sure if you're going to enjoy this game. You know, as I said in the beginning, I try to play every game and try to get the most out of it. I wasn't sure if I was going to like Diablo, and $70 is quite a lot of money for a video game. So I understand why people might be hesitant. I'm not sure where you stand on video games itself, but if you are open-minded, I'm sure a lot of you guys will enjoy this game. If you have an additional person to play with, and you guys probably will most certainly enjoy this game. There's something about just playing this game with somebody else that gives it its own twist. There will always be a reason not to like a video game, and I'm sure there are thousands of reasons why the hardcore fans might not be the biggest fan of this game. I'm not sure. I've seen so many different mixed reviews that I wanted to kind of, you know, try it out myself. Same thing with Elden Ring. You know, you have so many people saying it's an amazing game, best game that they've ever played, but I never got that fulfillment out of Elden Ring. You know, that to me came from God of War and Red Dead. It's always going to be a whole different perspective. So it's something that you have to try. If you like looking at numbers, if you enjoy, you know, seeing a lot of crazy numbers and having these, you know, pretty cool abilities, this game is definitely for you. Now, I wish that I could compare this game to a game called Dragon Age, but I'm sure none of you guys even have heard or played that. Now, I feel like it should be a crime to compare the two, but it's really not. A lot of the moves that are in Dragon Age are in this game, and that is one of the things that I actually can't stand about Diablo 4. When it comes to the skills in this game, a lot of it can seem super cool, but a lot of it, in my eyes, is super unoriginal. Now, I understand that I did pick the rogue, which is probably the most unoriginal person to pick, especially when you have somebody like a druid who can turn themselves into a werewolf. You have the necromancer, which is probably another one of my favorite categories. But I had the idea that I wanted to just use a bow and arrow. You know, that is just my go-to playstyle 90% of the time. Now, just like so many other games, this offers the same skill sets as, you know, multiple other games. And it's kind of my fault for picking the rogue. You know, when you pick the rogue, you kind of have to understand that you're going to either do pokey-poke damage with your daggers or you're shooting somebody with your bow and arrow. There are some cool additional moves in this game, which was the shadow imbuement, which is what you're looking at right now, which it basically just makes you shoot shadow arrows, or you have like these purple things at the edge of your daggers and you can create a crazy amount of CC, that type of stuff. I thought that was really cool. I also like freezing enemies with my bow. I thought that was pretty cool. But again, nothing that is, you know, super crazy or super original. One thing that I do enjoy about the skills in this game is that they're so over the top and flashy. For example, when I shoot one arrow into the sky and then I have the rain of arrows come down and hundreds of arrows just come pouring from the sky, I love that shit, dude. I don't know what it is. It's just super fun. It's super flashy. You get it into a group of mobs and you just feel like an absolute god. Now, other than that, there are also multiple different ways that you can build your character, and if you're anything like me, you will be thinking about it constantly, either ways to make the build that you have even better, or maybe thinking about doing something different. As unoriginal as the poison builds might be, they're still super fun to try out and, you know, experiment with all of it. I do wish I was able to give a full-fledged review, but I haven't beaten the game yet, so I can't really talk about the endgame content, which sucks, because I know that's where the bread and butter is when it comes to this game. You can play the campaign, you can do all that, but you won't really have the full-fledged Diablo experience until you play the endgame. Or at least so I've been told, and from what I've seen, that is very, very true. You know, testing your build to the limits, playing on the harder difficulties, running through the harder dungeons can be super exhilarating, and I can't wait to experience that. But as of right now, I'm enjoying the game, playing it at my own pace, and figuring everything out. So let me ask this one more time. Will you enjoy this game? I honestly don't know. You know, again, if I were to recommend a game for practically anybody, I would always go to the good old God of War, Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us experience, because those games are just guaranteed to have some sort of enjoyment out of it. I can't guarantee that everybody will enjoy this game. There's some people that might look at the camera angle as the most disgusting thing ever. It was an adjustment period for me as well. But once I got through it, I couldn't play this game on a different camera angle. The camera angle is what makes it so special. You know, there's multiple different times throughout the game that the camera angle will pan down and it will look cool. But I don't know, there's something about the overhead camera angle, watching all the numbers pop off at the exact same time, that gives it its own, you know, great feel to it. And I 100% recommend playing this game if you guys enjoy the high numbers, making your own builds. You guys are into, you know, the cool looking armors, all that great stuff. If you guys want to look up build videos, that is also another thing you guys can do. I highly recommend not doing that though, and just trying to figure it out, because coming up with your own build idea, you know, it's super exhilarating. Now, of course, when you're endgame and you beat everything, do whatever you want. Look up build ideas, steal other people's build ideas. But I 100% think that if you play any game for the very first time, that you should go through your own paces.